You are now listening to Broken Line Podcast, presented by Fish Addictions TV. Broken Line Podcast is sponsored by Ice Strong Titanium Spring Bobber, Eskimo Ice Fishing Gear, 13 Fishing, Striker Ice, Coles Resort of Bemidji, Minnesota, Aaron Eichhorst Photography.
All right, so we're back for another podcast, and we haven't done one in a while.
No, man, we haven't. I'm super excited. Wow, that was intense.
That was,
Did I redline the shit out of
yeah,
it?
you redlined for
Nice.
sure.
Sorry, I'm just wound up.
So we're back again for another single podcast, and next week we'll have another guest in here.
Yep.
And I think after that, we might slip even another guest in. We kind of took this little break. I was gone in Florida. No, I wasn't. Fooled ya.
What?
I was gone
Where is your brain?
on the beach. I was in Wisconsin. Sorry.
Whoa! Now, I could see if you were somewhere near Florida, maybe making the mistake, but Wisconsin?
Yeah, no.
Wow.
I was in Wisconsin, the land of, in my mind, because I was born there, I could say the land of the cheese.
Home.
Yeah. It was good to be down there. We had some Eskimo deals that we were doing, working with.
Got Taco Bell fragments stuck in the grill.
That $5 box deal.
Yeah, my grill looks like it just got hit by a deer filled with tacos. Boom. Anyway.
There's a video on YouTube of a dog sitting there, and it says like, "How much do you love cheese?" And he sprinkles cheese, and the dog just all through. I gotta show it to you.
Awesome.
But yeah, I was just in Wisconsin for the last 6 or 7 days, so we didn't get to put out a podcast. But that's okay because we're getting one done now. We talked a little bit with Eskimo. We had some meetings there. We filmed with Eskimo a little bit. We did a Green Bay whitefish trip. We did a Smalley trip up in northern Wisconsin. So it was a fun little trip. But I was gone. Now I'm back. And
How are my buddies at Eskimo doing?
they're doing great. They're coming out with some new fun, interesting.
Ben and Trevor and Big Trev.
Big Trev. Oh yeah, it's always good to see him.
Ryan.
You know, you give him a hug and you just continue just with the awesome stories. Like you haven't seen each other in 6 years, but really it was just a month or a couple months ago. But
Right.
they're all good guys. They have some awesome. We were doing some product testing, having a good old time, and it was great. It was one of them days where we just kind of get out, fish together. We had the National Pro staff there. It was good to just be able to fish. You know, Tony was there, Mike was there, Scotty was there, Kyle was there.
Mr. Bluegill.
And Mr. Bluegill, yeah. All
Troy
five National
Peterson.
Pro staff. So it was fun. We just got to fish, and that's what I've been doing. And I was on the road. We were waking up at 4 a.m, driving 3 hours, driving 4 hours, driving 6 hours, back, going to this, going to that. So it was exhausting, but we got it done.
Did I recently see footage of you catching a fish?
Yeah. Yeah. Episode 3, Fish Addictions TV. Was that it?
I believe so.
Yeah. So we were catching so many bluegills that I sat down and was fishing. Mike's like, "Fish this for a while. I'm going to go grab some bait." He's off getting bait. And of course, Mike fishes the opposite hand that I do.
Yeah,
And
which-
he's always the
yeah.
one that says, "Yeah, why don't you fish? Use my stuff." So I'm sitting over here all cockeyed fishing, all weird handle like, and
Yeah, which I noticed.
yeah,
And you're like,
when I'm reeling it up, it's just a mess. But every time someone sees me fishing with his stuff, it makes it look like I don't know how to fish because I'm just like, you know.
yeah. And
But-
you know what? Next time that happens, you should flip it upside down and put it in the correct hand and
Put it in the
just
correct
let
hand
it rip, dude.
and
Who
reverse
cares?
reel, yeah.
But you know, whenever you get the chance to fish, it's one of two things have happened.
Yeah, I know what to. At least one of the things you're going to say.
You've got all the footage you need,
Yep.
and fishing was awesome, or you don't have any of the footage that you need, and
Fishing
fishing
sucks.
absolutely sucks,
Yep.
and you just like, well, we're just not going to get this one.
Luckily,
right
that was the first thing you said, that we had
Yeah.
a lot of fish, and it was good.
now. Which we do a pretty good job of making sure that happens.
We try. It doesn't happen everywhere we go. It doesn't
Right.
happen every time. Sometimes we extend our days. Sometimes we put in more work
Right.
if it's not done. And Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing while we're talking about it is we just filmed an episode up in northern Wisconsin where I had a guy come in who isn't a professional video guy. He's actually done zero in the fishing world for filming, but he wants to get into it.
Right.
He wants to dabble more in photography and more into videography. So we took him and we brought him to northern Wisconsin. He actually was part of our old staff, Thor. Mm-hmm. And I threw a camera in his hands. I helped him a little bit with the settings, and I said, all right, the game plan is you're filming me.
Did Thor say, did I just slap this bitch on auto and let her rip?
No, yeah, because it doesn't work that way.
Not today.
Not today. So he filmed me filming a TV show, a Fish Addictions episode. So we are going to put out an episode, all of what happens behind the scenes, not everything, but as much as we possibly could film while we were out there, of me producing and filming a fishing show.
Hang on, kids. It's going to be super exciting.
It's gonna be a different episode for sure. It's gonna be a different Fish Addictions episode, but it's gonna be a cool storyline. And yes, me sitting on the sled, we did get that stuff. Like,
eating. Oh, I gotta run. Put the cheese witch down. Run. Come back. Text. Eat.
I'm out of breath.
Kidding.
No, that's
you work your butt off out there, dude.
But there is gonna be shots of that. There is gonna be shots of me eating
that
food.
That part of it is true.
It is true. Like I like to get the fuel in the stomach.
As a fishing member of the team, there are times where it's like, oh man, I can't get nothing going, but I'm hungry. I know the cameraman's got food. I know he's got food. And I look up and I see the others are kind of looking, and all of a sudden all the eyes are kind of drifting towards your little spot, like, yeah, boys, we might have to take him over here for a minute.
And I'm hiding in the grizzly, chowing down on chips and a cheese wedge or something. But yeah, so that's going to be a cool episode. It's going to be a different episode than what's been put out there. It's not going to be, I'm kind of stressing that it's not going to be perfect because he's an amateur in video and he's trying to get something going. And we thought it would be a cool episode to mix his footage and my footage, but at the same time, it's not going to be me filming myself.
Right.
Tyler would have been my first choice to do it, but Tyler is one of our secondary cameraman and our editor for our show, Fish Addictions, but he was busy.
Right.
So we had Thor come out, and he did, from some of the shots I looked, he did a good job. There was a few that had a little bit of work, but that's all right. We're going to see what happens for that.
Though, Aaron, is if you continue to work with him and teach him some things, I mean, he ain't going to be at your level next winter, but he'll maybe be halfway there.
Yeah, he might get,
and
get
it
to where he needs to be.
I've felt that on the few shoots that I've gone, like, man, if we get an extra camera, dude. Now, I know we're all running, got these GoPro Session 5s and stuff, and that, you're loving that.
Yep, I like that.
But it would still be cool to get that one more dude.
Yeah, and we have two backup cameramen that do come on some shoots, but it's not. It comes down to time and scheduling, and I can't take off my job to come do this.
And I think for us that fish, I haven't filmed with nobody but you, dude. And I could see cameras on me, and I'm like, you're not Aaron. I don't want to talk to you.
Who are you?
I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there, and I think a lot of us would feel that because a lot of us, you're the only guy that's ever
used to me filming,
sticking that thing in our face.
And the crazy thing is that episode's going to air with a little sneak peek into the eyes of what I see, and what I have to go through and what I have to prep, and then the next week is the episode itself through my camera, like a normal Fish Addictions episode. So we filmed 2 episodes on the same shoot. So the first week is filming me and what I do behind the scenes of the shoot itself.
Gnarly.
And then the next week is going to be everything that camera saw me doing the week prior.
Yeah,
so it's going to be it's going to be different. It's not going to be a typical Fish Addictions episode. It's going to be a little bit different. People have to bear with and understand the value of what the shoot it is.
Right.
And then the next week it'll be a normal Fish Addictions episode, but you kind of the week before got that sneak peek into what this week is going to be, and you kind of got that secondary look of what happens.
Dude, I think that's pretty cool.
I mean, some of the things I go over
creative. I like it.
is, sneak peek to that episode is going to be like fish safety. People always question, well, in a fishing show, how are you in keeping the fish in best top condition as possible? And I go over that, and I go over some tips and tricks for you or the average fisherman to go out and fish and film themselves, how they would do it, either with a GoPro or not with a GoPro. And you just kind of see the storyline, building, like, awesome clip here. So we're sitting there filming, and I got my drone. I'm standing there, and Thor's filming me, and I say, this is a sneak peek for sure. He said he's filming me, and the brats are going behind him, and I'm getting pumped already.
Right, your mind is on brats.
And I said, this is my favorite time of the shoot during an episode. I said, not only are the brats on, but I said, I get to use the drone. I love shooting with drone. I think that's one of my favorite times is being able to fly that out there and get cool scenic shots. And I say, as I'm standing there between me and you away, I look over to my left and I line the drone up. And I'm sitting there and I say, I get to fly the drone around and get cool shots. And all of a sudden I move my hand and this drone comes like 15 miles an hour right in between me and the cameraman. And I swear to God, I flinched a little because it was an inch and a half, 2 inches away from smoking me in the face. So,
dude,
that clip will definitely be in the episode, and just look for it in the behind-the-scenes cameraman episode of Fish Addictions TV. And I have no idea how that episode's going to look. I know we worked our butt off filming for that trip to try to get as much footage as we can for both episodes and work out the strategy of it. But look for that episode. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be an inside look of how we, not all shows, but how we get a grasp on filming some of our stuff. And we don't talk about everything because some of the stuff is months in advance. You're planning weeks, hours, days. Well, we are not going to have that stuff, and we're not going to give away all the secrets, but we're going to show you a little fun inside look. And then next week,
that's cool.
We're going to show you the actual episode. So
awesome.
Look for that. It's going to be awesome.
Speaking of teasers, my friend.
Episode 4.
I can't stop watching it. I get emotional just watching the teaser. It's you nailed it, dude. You got the shots, the music, the color, everything to it is so dramatic. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it.
I mean, it was and by the time this episode comes out, it's when it may or may not be out before the episode, but I'll try to get it out before. But the episode he's talking about is the Wisconsin shoot. It was a Lake Michigan tributary trout. Tributary is the runoffs of Lake Michigan, which is the river systems that flow into Wisconsin. And a lot of people go for trout that go in the bays, the bays, because that's usually where the bigger trout are and it's easier. We decided to take a little different approach on it, and we went the river system, which is harder. We were there for a couple days, and it was a roller coaster of emotions. I mean,
just by the teaser, I get it.
I mean, and hopefully the episode portrays it as best as it felt, because, I mean, when we had all the odds stacked against us, not only was it a hard shoot because it was on the river system, the cold came in, and it was super freaking cold, and usually they're getting 10, 15 bites a day. Well, it turned out to be like 1 or 2 in the end because of how cold it was and just all the odds stacked against us. First day we put in our day. I mean, we put in from sun up to sundown, and we got what we got. The second day was the same thing, and it was just an up and a down. Are we going to get this episode done? That was going through our heads. Do we just call it a day early, pack it up, and drive 12 hours back home and just say, we lost this one. It is what it is.
Right.
We decided to stick with it, and we went out day 3, and that roller coaster back up, it turned into a phenomenal day. I mean, we got doubles on camera. One of the guys says there's the system we're using was a
jawjacker.
The ice fishing. Like, how come I can't think of the name?
It was a jawjacker. It was an automatic fisherman.
Automatic fisherman, yeah. Automatic fisherman. And Mike was catching a fish, and in the background was another one, and it went off in the middle of the talk. middle of him reeling up fish, and we were with the owner of the Automatic Fisherman for the last day, and he says if you guys got that on camera, that's the first time ever he's seen an Automatic Fisherman go off real life on camera while filming someone else catch a fish off an Automatic Fisherman.
Nailed it.
So we also got a huge fish. The owner of the Automatic Fisherman said that it was one of the biggest fish that he's seen come through the river system. I mean, again, we're river system. We're not out in the bay.
And dude, that freaked me out. Seeing you guys run under
the bridge.
You're running under a bridge on the ice, like
in a river system.
Like you don't see people walking on river systems, let alone underneath a bridge.
But
I just got this like
the time that we filmed this, they had more ice than what they usually get in a whole year's worth of ice because of how cold it was. It was just, this winter's been weird. So it was safe for us to be out there. And of course,
I assume that, but it just looked freaky.
It was. I mean, we filmed in 8 different locations along this river, from in the middle of the city to under bridges to in people's backyards to right next to a highway to just pure woods. I mean, it was crazy. We were moving down this system. The name of the game was Move, Move, Move. And yes, so long story short, for that episode, in the trailer specifically, you have Taylor who hooks up into a fish, and right when it gets to the top of the ice, it breaks off. This would have been his first good fish of the, They knew it was big.
And that is the part.
He doesn't throw his rod, which is very unlike him, I would think. And he turns, walks away, and it took him about 15 minutes plus just a night's sleep to really regroup. He got down on his knees, and you could just see the emotion.
And that teaser, when it ends, you see him kneeling, and just as it starts, goes to black, you hear this voice. That's fishing, dude.
Yeah, the guy that was sitting at the hole, Jeff, he's the one fishing. That said right at the end, he's like, that's fishing. And that is. I mean, It was an emotional roller coaster, but that episode is, by the time you watch this, either out or just about to come out. So check it out. If not, check it out on YouTube.
You know what's funny about that part? I had all the guys at work watching it, and I gave them a little background on Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
I said, he's kind of the Happy Gilmore of the group. Great guy, but, when stuff goes south.
I mean, that was fishing.
Here comes the putter throw.
But that just added to the emotions and the roller coaster of the trip itself. Like, we needed that fish, and it broke off.
Right.
And it was just an up and down deal. But, yeah, it's a cool storyline. Let's go for the episode itself. It's not 40, 50 fish. It's not, 5 giants. But it's the storyline that goes along with it. The emotional roller coaster, and we do get some good fish, some big fish, and we get some cool series of fish. That's awesome. But enough about that. One of the topics you wanted to talk about was success and failure.
And that was a great lead-in.
Why are they... that's true. Why are they both important, and how to deal with it?
Because you witnessed success and failure.
All in a matter of seconds.
That whole trip.
No, that whole trip for sure, but just that
success, failure, success, failure, success, failure.
You get a fish, you're on success, and then 4 hours later, you don't have a second fish. You go back down to feeling like failure. This specific, you hook into a fish. We think we're success. I'm sitting there filming, and deep down, I'm like, yes, this is one of the fish we need. Here we go. We're filming. They're doing their whole talk. It's great. Boom, pops off. Within a matter of seconds, it goes from success to failure. So, how do you handle success and failure when you're out fishing, and why is it important to you to have both? I mean, in my mind and your mind, I guarantee it's good to have a dabble of both. For the Fish Addiction Show, we just can't have success. And people, I mean, when you watch our show, you're like, man, these guys just must be successful every time they go out on the ice, and that's not true.
No, and I think we could capture that a little better at times.
We can. I mean, that's true. We went down to southern Minnesota. We were down there for 3 days. We left without an episode. But I did film it the 3 days, and I think that would be a cool intro to a show. You start out with, we're in southern Minnesota, and it didn't work out. These are our failures that happened. off to the next location. And it might be a twist
Right.
into an episode, but
Yeah,
we don't go everywhere, and it's not perfect. Every time we're on the ice, it's not perfect. Every day, it's not perfect.
Right.
Some days are successful, some days aren't. We want it to be successful in the end because, of course, we got to put out a show. So, but yeah, back to you.
I've been thinking a lot about this, and I think that, everybody loves success, but my question is, how do you process and deal with success? How do you handle success? And reflecting upon myself, I've kind of discovered that I really don't, and this is going to sound really weird, and it's something that I need to work on, is I don't think that I really learn from success.
I'm going to have you just turn it
a little bit?
Yeah, so you're back.
Okay, hold up.
No, just, you were talking into the front, just slide her. Yep, perfect.
There we go.
Yeah, so, keep going with that.
I've thought about all the times I've been successful. And going back, I can't tell you without looking at notes. I cannot tell you right off the top of my head what the weather was, what the jig I was using, how deep I was fishing, any details. But failures, looking back at all my failures, I could tell you all the details of what went wrong because I want to learn from those. And I think it's just as important to learn from a success. But a lot of times, man, when you have a successful day and you get off the ice, man, your endorphins are in high gear. You're just pumped up, and you're not really thinking about why you were successful. And that's something I need to work on. And
what were what kind of baits were you using? What was the jigging technique? Why did you
why
come
was
out
it successful that day? And that there's a chunk of learning that can take place there.
That's why there's a few of our friends that keep a journal, and we've talked about journals before of what was the weather like, what was the temperature like, what was the water temperature like, what was the depth.
And part of that journal is also logging and documenting failure days. And I had, and I'm grateful for this day. I mean, you guys were recently, filming an episode in northern Wisconsin. And I decided not to go on that trip last minute because I wanted to get a bike going here. And a buddy of mine and myself, we walked 2 lakes. We fished from 9:30 in the morning until almost dark. And 1 fish was caught. And it wasn't caught by me. And it was the only mark that we seen between the both of us. We had a half-hour lunch break. I haven't had a day like that, and I can't remember when. And for just a few minutes after I left my buddy's house and I'm on my way home, I got thinking about it, and I was like, this was good. This was a good day because I haven't had a day like that in such a long time that I couldn't remember. And it feels good to let the fishing humble you once in a while.
Yep.
And going back over the details because I failed to produce a bite, I did everything that I could possibly do. And what I learned from that was some days it's just not in the cards. It may sound like a really cheesy answer, but it is. But I got a little text message today from my buddy Trent that was with me. It was bugging him so much, he started reaching out to a few people that he knows fishes the one lake we went to, the first one. And they were catching fish in there before the snow came. And they fish it religiously.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I made a little note of it, I even said, hey.
Might be good first ice or went before snow hits the...
First ice, right before snow, or late ice.
Yeah.
I have, and just with that tidbit of information and you knowing that lake, being it's so shallow, once that snow gets on there, she gets dark real fast. Things
and you would
start
think
dying
it would
off.
almost be the opposite, depending on the fish, I guess, is that you would almost think that darkness helps.
No,
the bait.
it kills off weeds.
See, but in some, like, let's just say for some walleye bites in 3-4 feet of water, sometimes that's what they need, is that complete darkness to catch fish. And that's why you do a night biter in a situation. But that's super interesting. So for you, you know, in a success-failure moment, you took that failure and instead of turning it into just ruining everything for the next day to 2 days,
you took getting all dramatic about it. Yeah,
you took that failure and you realized, you know, in some cases, in order to have a good, successful day, you have to have a failure day thrown in there once in a while. It can't be perfect every time you're out there.
Yeah.
So, in my mind, for the people listening, if you have a failure day, pause a second and rethink why it was a failure day and try to figure it out, you know, because something changed. Something was different. Something wasn't in, like you said, the deck of cards.
Right.
And that's a cool subject. I mean, success and failure in that terms.
Yeah, and I think it's like going back to what I said before. I think it's just as important to reflect hard on the successful days instead of just being like, dude, I could not get a bite. It was sick. It was crazy. Well, what'd you do? I don't know, man. I was just fishing. They were just flying up the hole. You know, there's some lost information that could be good information. And I think there's tidbits of successful days that could be, you know, utilized when you're having one of those days where you're like, you know, I think this is going to be one of those on the report card, an F for failure day. But, you know, if you pay attention to your successful days, there might be a detail in there that you haven't applied to that tough day, and it could change the game right there. I mean, we all want to be successful. At the same time, like I said, I was appreciative of a day where I didn't even see a mark. I wasted batteries. I wasted gas. Burned through two tanks on the auger. Just drilling, looking for one mark. All I wanted was one mark, and I didn't get it. And thinking about it, it was like, yeah, I'm humbled again. Not that I was ever, you know, I catch fish all the time.
Real life situation. I mean, not everything's perfect.
It was a reality check.
Yep.
Like, yo, hey, you know.
Hey, not every day is perfect.
Right
so
on.
For success and failure, I think just next time anyone that's out there fishing and you have a positive note day, make note of it and make note why it was a positive day.
Yep.
But the most importantly, if you have a negative day, really think about why it was a negative day. Don't go home and beat up social media or beat up yourself because of the situation. Figure out why it was a negative day and work on it to try to improve yourself on having another good positive day. And we all know if you have tons of positive days, there's bound to have some negative days in there, and I think that negative only drives that positive up further for the next time.
And pick through them and process them both equally, because there's tidbits of information in both.
Absolutely. And this kind of runs into that next question where you have that success and failure, but we jump onto the failure stick and we say, well, if you're out fishing and some of your equipment fails you while you're out on the lake, you know, what do you do? Let's just say you're fishing and you're fishing with rod, any rod. That rod breaks. You're fishing with an auger. That auger breaks. You're fishing, your zippers break on your suit. It ruins your day. Absolutely ruins
flasher
your day.
goes haywire.
Flasher goes, and this is a brand new product, an old product, barely used product, or a really, really old product. What do you do? What happens if your rod breaks when you're out fishing? I mean, because in my mind, for me, most of the time, if something breaks like a rod or something, you have a backup, right? I mean, that's an obvious thing, but I don't want to hit that point.
No. Just because I've spent most of my adult life in manufacturing, I understand that it doesn't matter if it's a hand-built rod, custom rod, whatever you want to call that, or, you know, one off the shelf. Mm-hmm. The blanks are all mass-produced, okay? And these companies that make these blanks are probably making, 10,000 of them a day. Okay, so not all this whips through my head, but I've thought about it plenty of times. So out of those 10,000, that
there's bound to be one or two.
There's going to be a percentage, 5% of them. Quality assurance. Everybody tries to shoot for 0, but quality assurance is like, all right, let's test this 5% of these blanks. So they'll take 5% of 10,000 of them, and they'll try to break them. And of that 5%, say 2% break, they'll probably let the batch go. Okay? So that's how a lot of quality assurance things go through. Secondly, the first thing I'm going to do is you got to be honest. Being honest is always the best policy. I'm going to go back home and I'm going to contact the manufacturer.
First thing I would do before that step is think, was it your fault that broke it? Did you?
That's what I'm talking about, like being honest.
Okay. Yeah.
If you stepped on it,
at some point you can step on it once and then 2 weeks later it breaks in that same spot. It's just but that stuff happens. So yeah, I would say be honest to see if it even was your fault.
And my previous experience, especially with the higher end rods, like the custom rods or hand built rods and stuff like that, they've heard it all. Well, just even like mass produced rods are off the shelf. They've heard it all. Okay. And they would rather hear, hey, I was fumbling around and I stepped on my rod a couple weeks back and I was fishing and it broke. It's a 50-50 shot, to be honest with you. A lot of times you get into the local handmade stuff and whatnot, they'll be like, yeah, we get it. Accidents happen and I appreciate your honesty. Here's what I can do for you. I can get you another rod for half the price of a new one. I'm not going to give you one for free. Okay, because,
it was partly your fault.
There's a little bit of negligence in there. Okay. The mass produced stuff, which I'm comparing apples to oranges here. You're talking rods, just rods that are $100 versus, a combo that's $30 or a rod that's even $50, Yeah, even if you want to be like, all right, you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to send this in. I'm going to send in my information. I'm going to send them an email with a picture. Hey, this is what happened. Can you help me out? Sometimes you'll get a free rod back. Just be like, scrap the other one. Sometimes you'll get like a coupon or a voucher or here, use this code and order one offline and we'll give you 50% off or 40% off or something off. Because they want to keep you as a customer. So being honest is always the best policy.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
And to go with what you said, if they send out 50,000 rods, and I want to jump into the social media type aspect. If they give out 50,000 rods and you look on a well-known Facebook page that has a lot of people on it, and you see in an average winter, maybe 2 people post saying that their rod broke or this broke or that broke. For me, posting on social media when there's 50,000 made but only 2 people post on Facebook, I think those odds are pretty dang good in the rod's favor that the rod did what it did.
Right.
Or there's just a lot of people that don't post on social media or vice versa.
Which, you know what, to me personally, I think that's just your favorite rod breaks. Yeah, your emotions are cranked up high and the first thing you want to do is let everybody know how mad you are.
Yeah.
And negative attention seldom yields good results.
Absolutely. From what I've seen, you post something, a zipper broke on your thing and you post it on Facebook or on social media. Usually other people are going to jump on and say positive notes about it. Like, I've had mine for 4 years. Mine hasn't broke. And it's like all these positive things. And then to me, I think the wrong choice is what I'm trying to say to the people listening is, if equipment fails, don't post it on social media. Contact the the distribution place or the customer service line directly and see how best you can work it out. Now, if they don't respond to you right away, or if their phones are down, or if something it's taken a week and a half for them to get back to you, I mean, they're busy. It's ice fishing season.
And a lot of these places are small.
Yeah, a lot
regardless
of
how big the name is, a lot of these places are small.
Yeah.
Their office staff may be like 7-8 people.
Yeah. And if they have an influx of people calling, whether it's over a holiday season or in the middle of ice fishing season.
Yeah, and you're not going to get somebody from some call center in India or Florida or Texas, or you're going to get the actual place.
You're going to get the actual place. And, the best you would want is at least a response back saying, oh, thank you for letting us know, and then we'll get back to you as time goes here. But I would say best is try to lay off the social media aspect when equipment breaks, equipment fails. It just looks bad on, I would say, more of yourself.
Absolutely.
And you're trying to bash, I don't know if you're trying to bash a company or not, whatever you're trying to do, but work with them directly and figure it out the best you can on either messaging them on Facebook or emailing them. Best thing nowadays in the millennial, pointing at the millennial trophy there, is people don't pick up the phones. They don't call. They don't email.
No.
Even with us here, here at the resort, I'll get people that messages on Facebook for reservations, and I'm just like, can you call our front desk and talk to the reservation desk? I'm out. I'm driving through town right now getting supplies for the resort. I can't do this. So I think a lot of people, they'll message on Facebook or they'll jump right to social media, even writing right on their page. Let's just say Clam. People write right on Clam's page and say, hey, this broke, blah, 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 blah. Well, not only are you letting everyone else that there was a faulty thing that happened, but I would cut that social media aspect out, pick up the lines, call customer support, and give them a call.
Yeah,
that's
you don't
how I
know,
would properly handle equipment fail.
Does customer support look on their Facebook page?
Probably
doubt
not.
it. They're busy answering phone calls.
They're busy answering phone calls.
And so you're going to rely on this company's social media person to be like, oh, I better run and take care of this. There's another 50-50 shot.
It's the same thing with when you go out to a restaurant and you go out to eat, right? You go and sit down, and there's people out in the world that do this heavily. You go out and the meal wasn't perfect. It wasn't right. The waitress was bad. There was a hair in your food or something. And instead of contacting the owner and saying, hey, your waitress was kind of rude to me, she wasn't doing stuff properly, there was a hair in my food. And if they don't take care of that problem, whether they do or don't, the first people's initiative is to jump on social media and do a Yelp review, a bad review.
Grind them into the earth.
Grind them. It's just like,
yeah.
And there's 600 people that did positive reviews about their food, and there's 3 people that did negative. It's like, do you have to be that person? Or, I mean, if I ever have a hair in my food or something, I contact them directly right there on the spot, and I say,
right,
look at this.
Yeah, and that goes back to like say that we were talking about this rod earlier, go back to the store. That should be step number 1 with your, save your receipt for a little while. Go back to the store. A lot of times you can get the problem solved right there.
Yeah, if you buy from Cabela's or something, go back to Cabela's and tell them your issues, tell them your problems. They'll try to figure out and solve the problems. And if they tell you to contact
that's going to be your fastest.
Absolutely.
That they're equipped to handle those kind of problems.
Yep.
Where the manufacturer is not really super equipped for that.
Yep.
They do the best they can.
And if you buy a rod online through Shields or something, call them up and say, hey, I bought this from you a month ago. I was fishing with it today and it snapped. Is there a warranty? If not, is there a warranty under this specific? Send them photos. Let them know. And if they say, yeah, we'll figure it out, or this isn't our problem, then from that step, I would then take it up to the customer service line of the actual company. Mm-hmm. But I the only reason why we kind of brought this up in my mind is because I see it on social media, and it sucks to see that stuff with how we are in the industry. It just sucks to see that stuff, and I think there's other steps and better steps to figure out the problem. It just
needs to be handled better.
Yeah.
I mean, and my feelings about social media in general. It's just like, it's like negative media.
Yeah.
It's almost like the evening news. There's very little positive stuff out there.
Yeah.
We try our best, but it seems like more people engage with negative or controversial stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if stuff breaks,
it's weird.
Stuff breaks while you're fishing, set it to the side. Calm yourself down. Continue fishing, and if it's something where you can't continue fishing, then start the steps of figuring out how to solve that problem in a positive way. Because no one wants a customer service call where you're like, "This product broke. It's a piece of crap." Blah 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 blah. No one wants to start out
product
that.
Again.
They want it to be positive, and if anything, they usually will fix the problem in a positive note with overnight shipping, free product, discount, whatever it possibly is to help benefit it, because they're all here to, keep ice fishing alive and keep people, using products, etc. So I think that's a cool subject.
Companies actually really do want to keep their customers happy. That's how they continue to sell product.
Absolutely.
So saying that they don't care and whatever is not accurate.
Yeah,
it's just not. I mean, but it's all about being patient, and cooling down and being like, you know what, and being honest with yourself. Yeah, and then just
it wasn't my fault in general. It wasn't not my fault, but hey, there are faulty errors in products. It just
Absolutely.
It's 100% fact. So it is what it is. But we've had this question at Fish Addictions. We've had it Snapchatted us, Facebook, etc. People ask, "What's your fishing road snack?" What's your fishing road snack?
I'm gonna let you handle this.
What's your best on ice, off ice, in the boat type deal? And I want to hear your opinion, because I'm gonna say Cheese Witch, and you've just started having Cheese Witch, so that can't be yours.
Oh, really?
Well, you just started.
Yeah. Okay.
The $5 taco box.
I got it.
So when I think of food on the ice, there's a few things that I go for, and people are gonna be like, "This is a topic." Absolutely, it's a topic. Cheese Witch. I have had Cheese Witch for 3 years now. Some people have never heard of it. Some people are just starting to get that flow of Cheese Witch coming into their life.
Dude, you really love Cheese Witch when you know the day the year you started.
3 years ago, Rainy River.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yep. Open water.
Made a serious impact on your life.
Open water, yes, absolutely. So my favorite snack, usually when we go there, we get, let's say you're going on the ice to get breakfast. Sometimes you're eating healthy, sometimes you're not. You got to think of how cold it is outside. Is your food going to freeze up? Do you have a cooler for it to keep it warm, or cold, vice versa? So usually in the morning, I would say, from my perspective, I like the breakfast sandwiches. You try to think of something that's not gross. If you're going to a gas station, let's just pick gas station.
Yeah, because we're all grabbing stuff.
Yeah, you're getting. Way. I usually get 1 or 2 waters, Gatorade, Powerade type of deal. And this is for breakfast and lunch. You're getting it for the day. Usually when we get off the ice, we're usually cooking fish, or we're going out to a restaurant, or we're eating somewhere, back at the lodge, whatever. Right. So I usually go with a breakfast sandwich. Sometimes I do a little healthier, like get some fruit or a yogurt. But if I'm going to be out in the cold all day, I need something to really kind of not heavily weigh me down, but keep me energized to be out there. And although gas station food is gross in most cases, a breakfast sandwich is the way to go for breakfast. But for lunch, Cheese Witch, 2 pieces of cheese and a piece of meat on the inside. It doesn't, depending on how cold it is, it doesn't get soggy or freeze up, depending if you're putting it in a cooler or where you're putting it. But I like Cheese Witch because there's no calories, there's no bread. It doesn't get soggy. Whether you're in a hot boat out in the summer or a cold day out on the ice, it's perfect. And then I get a bag of chips. And then my favorite now is what we just started, are the O-Snap pickles.
Okay.
You see them in the little bags, and they're cut up.
I'm hesitant, man. There's just something about a bag of pickles that's been sitting in a gas station. Like,
ooh.
Are they crispy?
They're solid and they're good, man. There's the sweet, spicy one.
Yeah.
And then there's the dill pickle.
Dill.
Sometimes with me and Mike, we'll get a cup and we'll mix them together. And you can't see which is which, so at that point, it's kind of like Russian roulette. You're like, oh, I got the dill, or, oh, spicy, give me a drink, But that's something that you can easily have out on the ice. You just rip it open, or in the boat, rip it open, and you got, basically, it's one giant pickle type thing.
Right.
And so that with a bag of chips and a sandwich, it's basically like a nice packed lunch. Usually, if you're going out in the boat, most people's mind would be going towards a meat sandwich, some chips, So that's my ultimate thing. I actually just opened up a bag of O-Snap pickles the other day, and I had just one big pickle. It wasn't cut.
Oh, no kidding.
Snap pickles, they come cut, so they're snack size. So it was like, there's that, what we just said, that default equipment thing. Like, this is a default. I got a pickle that wasn't cut.
You got to buy quality assurance.
And I don't want to bite I'm not a big fan of the big pickle biting into
Now,
them.
did you run to social media and just burn them to the ground?
Absolutely not.
No, did you let them know, though?
I was at home, so it wasn't a big deal. And all I did was take out a knife and cut them up into pieces.
Because I got a story about this. I once got a little can, like the half can thing of Pringles, and I opened it up, and they were all busted.
Oh.
Still edible. But I was like, looking at the can or whatever, and I was like, oh, look, questions or comments. I call this number. They used to put a 1-800 number on there. Call them up. They're like, hey, this is Pringles. You called the customer service line. What can I help you with? I said, I just bought the half can size, and they're all my chips are busted. I let you know that the whole can thing apparently didn't work this time. I wasn't mad. I said, I just have that comment. Like, oh, we're terribly sorry about that, sir. Can you read me the numbers off this can? A certain set of numbers. So I do. And they're like, no problem. Just check your mail here in about 2 weeks. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, I get this pretty good sized envelope. Half off, free. I didn't have to buy Pringles, full price Pringles for almost 6 months.
Boom.
I wasn't mad.
I
wasn't upset. I
have a story to roll into that before you tell me your best on the ice on the road deal. Back in the day, there was the State Farm insurance commercial, probably 7 years ago or something like that. That said, or they're sitting there and he's like. There's like a genie type commercial. They're like, hey, can I get a hot tub? And then a hot tub would appear behind them. Or can I get a hot chick? And then a hot chick would form in front of them type of thing. I'll have to show you the commercial. But if anyone out there wants to look at State Farm commercial where they were like, can I get a hot tub? And then like a hot tub would appear. And they're like, well, with our insurance, we get awesome things like hot tubs and hot chicks and that kind of stuff. So the video's on social media somewhere. I actually called State Farm Insurance customer support, and I said, I feel like you guys are doing false advertising. Again, I didn't post on Facebook or any of that garbage, but I called them directly, and it started out as a joke. I just wanted to see what they said. I like to funny guy, I said, in your commercials, you guys kind of state that when you do the jingle, it was the State Farm jingle, that when you do it, stuff appears. And I said, I think that's false advertising. Just like Red Bull gives you wings. And what happened with Red Bull? They had that whole Subac thing, and everyone got like a 3-cent coupon or whatever. They mailed it out to everyone. My dad got one. I got one. That was stupid, but $3 or whatever it was, 3 cents. I don't know. So I did the jingle, and I told him that, hey, where's my free hot tub? I did the jingle. I said, you advertise it in your commercials strongly. And I talked to a customer service agent. They said, let me get you to someone higher. I got all the way to like the head board member of this department or something like that. It was 4 people up. They just kept pushing me up. And I explained it once again to them. And they said, can I have your address, please? I gave them my address, my name, my whole information. The next day, a Bemidji State Farm insurance representative drove out in their little shiny State Farm car all tattooed up, drove out, and they gave me a booklet of free Qdoba. I don't know why Qdoba, but Qdoba gift cards for me to go. And they said, here you go. Now, what I'm not saying is don't be that guy online that jumps around.
Just sit around and farm for this stuff, right?
And does it.
Right.
I just think that in the benefit of the doubt, there are lots of customer service people out there that are willing to help you. And somehow we got back onto that subject again, but there's a lot of customer service people out there that are willing to bend over backwards to try to satisfy you or me as a customer. And I thought that was a cool thing. But what's your fishing road snacks before we get close to finishing her up here?
All right. Well, I know breakfast, I agree with you. I'll grab some sort of breakfast sandwich, thing of water. Now, this is where I'm at fault with myself. I try to do better, but I always stop, and I'm gonna name a gas station right off the bat. Holiday gas stations up here have the best cookies, and they're 3 for $2.19. I will grab 3 of those cookies, an oatmeal, an M&M, and a Reese's Pieces one. That's kind of my, like, those are my 3 midday snacks. I'll have 1 cookie.
Boom.
Yep. And then for lunch, man, I usually just stick to something that I can keep on me, you know, and just use my body heat to kind of keep it warm. So I'm a big fan of like Quest bars, nutrition bars.
Yeah.
And
I like Cliff bars too, just as long as they don't freeze. So you got to keep them warm.
And they're small enough you can keep them in a pocket, like a pocket your hoodie or something like that, and kind of keep them warm. Quest bars, Cliff bars. I used to do my favorite all-time ice fishing snack were I only have them here in Minnesota, I believe, is the peanut roll by Pearson Candy.
Roll.
Yeah, nut roll.
Nut roll.
Yeah, nut roll.
It's out of Minnesota. You can get them in Wisconsin too.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay, they broke out a little bit, but they're made in Minnesota.
Yeah,
they're so good. But when those suckers freeze, man, there's no eating them.
Break it too.
There's just no, you'll break your jaw. But I kind of was like, I'm gonna stay away from that, whatever that white stuff is in the middle. So
the cream, which is super good.
It is super good, but
that's my dad's
I drifted
favorite.
over to the meal replacement bars, like a Quest bar or a Cliff bar, and that usually gets me through the day. And I just try to drink a lot of water. It's when you're really into it and you're really grinding out there, I forget to drink water all the time when I'm fishing, and I get done and I'm just like
dehydrated. I drink 2 or 3 bottles a day out on the ice.
Yeah,
you just got to keep being hydrated.
I stay away from pop and Gatorade. Gatorade's just got nothing but sugar in it too.
It depends on the day for me to grab. I only grab 1. I grab 3 waters to 1 Gatorade if I do. Otherwise, definitely pop is the wrong thing to be drinking when you're out on the ice. It's the absolute wrong thing to be drinking on the ice.
Dude, you'll spend more time drinking more pop than you will fishing. It makes me more thirsty.
I also do the Rice Krispie peanut butter. Rice peanut butter with the chocolate on the top.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? You can find them right at the checkout line at the
they're really
gas station.
dense.
Those freeze too, pretty good.
Yeah.
You gotta just watch what you get. That's why a bag of chips and a cheese whiz is good to go for me.
And once in a while I'll do some trail mix, but that can get messy. Man, I found remains of trail mix in my fish house when I'm getting ready to put her away for the summer. Like, whoa, there's a good cup of trail mix.
Cup of Joe in there.
Sprinkled without this thing. But, I just try to keep it simple, and I try to do the best I can. Eating at gas stations, man, I'm guilty of it these last 2 weeks. I've just been so busy.
It's the worst. You got to get something healthy every time you go, otherwise you're eating garbage.
Oh, big time. I haven't bought groceries, in a while, and I'm just like, I'll do it tomorrow. Get home from work, I got to come up here. I'm just like, man, I got to do laundry. I better get that done. I'm like, what about grocery stuff? I'll just grab something in the morning.
End
up
tomorrow.
buying just garbage, dude.
You're looking at starting a new segment for this, and it's Mom and Pop Name Drop. Asking the listeners for recommendations. Why don't you talk a little bit about, on a quick note, on what that is? And we're just talking about the segment. We're not actually.
I think this is what I want to name it: the Mom and Pop Bait Shop Name Drop. Okay, I'm a big fan of the Mom and Pop, the local hole in the wall, if you even want to call it that. Some of these places aren't a hole in the wall, but the local bait shop. It's not a chain or anything. I have nothing against those, but I like to support the local mom and pop shops.
Absolutely.
And we recently received a message
ice belt
about a local bait shop this guy was telling me about, and that's where I kind of had the idea. I was like, you know what? This could kind of be a cool segment, just like the Grip and Grin. I'd like for listeners and viewers to send in a little information about your local bait shop that you hit up. Give us a location, a website address if they have it, and then just a little description, like what the ambiance is like, what the atmosphere is like in there.
Because every bait shop's different. They all always have an ambiance.
We had our Tabors, and people I have talked to all over Minnesota at some point in time. have been to that, have gone to that bait shop, and they're like, "Oh, dude, it was a tiny place. All them spear decoys hanging from the ceiling.
It's got a feel to it. It did. I mean,
yeah, it did. And
plus, and then the owners had even more impact on the feel too. It's cool. So
yeah,
I like the idea of doing a little name drop and just something fun we can throw out there once in a while.
Yeah, just and the important part is just definitely give us that location, so that we can say, hey, if you're ever swinging through yada yada yada, make sure to swing by and to this place here and check out. And my other favorite thing, this is kind of a dirty little secret that I got, but I'll spill it out anyway. Another reason why I like going to these places is a lot of times they have some tackle that hasn't been out, or or not prototype stuff, but like they don't make anymore.
Yep.
And you're like, whoa.
I know exactly what you're saying, because one of our staff was just at a bait shop the other day, and they're like, holy crap, there's this blah, blah, blah rod. This hasn't been on the shelves in over a year, and they still they have 3 of them here. And it was back, I love back in the day that rod, and then he got like all 3 of them, stuff like that.
Right, yeah, there's some cool lures that used to work really well, and they're usually done by dudes in their garage and stuff like this, or just a really small manufacturer that just couldn't make it anymore. But here, some of these bait shops might still have half a rack of those, and be like, been looking for those.
Absolutely.
And boom, here they are. So there's lots of little treasures to be found in these local mom and pop bait shops, for sure.
So we're going to be looking for viewers to send us in, just like we do with the Grip and Grin. If you know a small little nicks and crannies type store, or
we don't
need shop,
pictures or anything like that. Just a
small little deal about it.
Just a little description and location, town.
And send it to us on our email. Absolutely. At brokenlinepodcast@gmail.com with the subject of mom and pop name drop or something.
Yeah,
and we'll try to implement those on as much single podcasts as we possibly can. And if no one sends us any, no one sends us any. But it'd be cool to get a few out there.
And me and you, we've been to plenty of them. So
absolutely, and they all have a cool feel there. That
for sure.
That comes into the Grip and Grin. If we're, I'm not going to say slowly running out, but don't forget to email us, Broken Line Podcast, for the Grip and Grin. Send us a picture of yourself, or you and your kid, or you and your grandma, or whatever, and do a little write-up that says a little bit about the story. We might as well just go into the Grip and Grin.
You got one?
I got one.
Yeah.
So I got it from this guy. Now, he emailed me, but he didn't say his name. But in his email header, it said Miguel. So I'm guessing his name was Miguel.
Okay.
He called it Fin and Grip.
Ooh.
Throwing it off.
Okay.
There. Said, welcome to Sunset County, Ontario. So from Canada.
Yeah.
We love the Canada listeners. He said, on a brisk Ontario morning, me and a fishing buddy drag our sleds onto the ice, hoping for this day to be one to remember. I had felt that it would be a good day on the ice. We start off by firing the Eskimo augers. He says, music to our ears as the augers eat through the ice. Shortly after turning the ice into Swiss cheese, we wanted to set up the Frabill thermal tip. Frabill thermal tip up?
Yep, it's round orange. Got foam underneath it.
On our Frabill tip ups, we rig up a Northland Tackle quick strike rig and a freshest. His writing is pretty good here. The freshest 6-inch Cisco's we could find. We dropped down our rigs to 10 feet, 20 foot of water, and our tip-ups are set. His writing is a little bit all over the place. We continue on jigging for walleyes, and about 100 other holes are drilled. It was not long before my buddy turns to me and yells at the top of his lungs, "Our flags are up." We both drop our jigging rods and race to the flag. As we race to the flag, my buddy's flag, which was 20 yards from mine, also goes up. Now we are both excited to see whose fish is bigger. As I arrive to my tip-up, I see it spinning. And I yell to my buddy, "I got a big one." As he arrives to his tip-up, he sees that his is also spinning. We both eagerly wait for the fish to slow down so we can set the hook. By the way, this is a big paragraph, if you haven't noticed, from how long I'm talking here.
I love it.
Let's see, where was I?
Both flags are both tip-ups are spinning.
Both tip-ups are spinning. I lost myself. Both are eagerly waiting for the fish to slow down so we can set the hook. We both set the hook once our tip-ups came topside. As he felt, it was a fish of a lifetime at the end of his line. As he gained some ground on the fish, he quickly loosened the gain. I don't know what he's saying here. Sorry. I took up to my buddy who is... Oh, my gosh. What the heck? You should read this. I should have read it first, but I wanted it to be just how he said it. The same situation happens 2 more times as we yell back and forth about how each other's are bigger, only to come to the conclusion that we are fighting the same fish.
Oh, no.
Oh, here's a good... Now it's turning.
Oh.
We got over ourselves one hungry pike. So after we decided that the pike hit my tip-up first, I should have the honor of bringing in the fish. To my buddy's dismay, he cuts his line. Lo and behold, this pike still has lots of fight left in him. As he almost spooled my tip-up, I managed to bring him in, his head barely fitting through the hole. His mouth comes up full of teeth and 2 quick strike rigs. The sheer excitement of landing a pike that is indescribable. As we release this beautiful sunset country pike down the same hole as he came up, he waves his tail goodbye. Fishing to me is about good camaraderie and making memories, and that's what this day was all about. It's your feeling bad for my buddy and not getting his pike. Don't feel bad. He put on a walleye clinic for the rest of the day.
Nice.
So, although sorry, I think, Miguel, I did have a problem reading it.
Reading is hard.
Reading is hard. Well, hey, there was some spelling mistakes in there, but that's all right. It was still a cool story, and
that is cool.
I will show you the photo as, of course, I throw it up on the screen for the whole thing. But there is the Big Daddy.
That
pike.
is a big old.
I knew he was from Canada when I saw his hat said Hockey Night Canada. I knew it was.
I could tell it was Canada by the shoreline, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
They have more rocks than we do.
That is one beautiful. That is a beautiful fight. Thank you from Ontario, and I think Miguel was his name. Awesome story. It was a long story. Beautiful fish,
dude. We got to get some of these pictures printed off. Man,
we do.
This wall.
We have to finish this wall behind us.
I know.
So Can I just do my tech tip because I have it all written up?
Yeah.
All right. So tech tip for this episode, right before we close
Does it
out
involve drinking?
This deal? No, that was
food.
Nope.
Okay, wow.
So, my tech tip is the Zombait. Have you seen the Zombait?
Is that where they shove that electronic thing up the fish's bummerooski?
Into the mouth. It's around $100. It was a Kickstarter project. The Zombait is the world's first robotic fishing device, which brings dead bait back to life. Zombait is a must-have tool in your tackle box to save the day when it can't find or keep live bait.
Dude,
I know, it's weird.
I can't have one of those. Not because it's $100, because I probably wouldn't be using it on minnows. I'd be like putting into action figures or something, you know.
Just let them roam around. It says, imagine watching your dead fish or frozen bait come to life with natural-looking, injured swimming action. The instant it hits the water, insert the durable, rechargeable Zombait into the mouth of your bait and seamlessly tether it to your hook. And the Zombait does the rest. Your formerly dead bait is now kicking and struggling. Just the action you need to get that fish on the edge to find the attack your bait. Keep reading. It says keep reading. I didn't read. Waterproof is up to 200 feet. Water activated, durable, made for ocean water as well. Retrievable and reusable, rechargeable, lithium battery up to 2 to 3 hours. Compact, fits in little mouths. The Zombait.
Wow. Wickedly cool.
Yeah, it was a Kickstarter project too. You don't see too many fishing things come through Kickstarter, but there are a couple.
I started down that wormhole of Kickstarter looking, and I was like, no, I got to get away from here.
Yeah.
You know, that or I'll go leave the wallet in the Jeep while I'm sitting in my apartment while looking at Kickstarter, because there's a lot of cool stuff, but I've never really looked for... I've come across some fishing stuff here.
There's a few things on there, yeah.
But most of it's all this cool tech stuff. Zombait, huh?
Zombait, yep, absolutely. But I want to quickly shout out to the fact that there are a few of our giveaways that haven't made it into the mailbox yet. Just been busy filming and fishing and having fun with.
We'll figure that out. Dude.
Yeah, we'll get that stuff sent out to the people that have been sent.
We've got it all on lockdown. Who's got what?
Absolutely,
coming. We'll get it there.
Absolutely. So besides that, don't forget social media: Facebook, YouTube.
Glad we don't have a customer service line.
Instagram. Jeez. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube. Look for us on all of our podcast sites and apps and all that good stuff.
I got some video stuff too that I want to give you to put on our YouTube page.
Absolutely.
I'm going to start sprinkling some more of some of my cuts that don't make it to Fish Addictions, perhaps, or some that don't make it into a fishing report. Some of it's just good old-fashioned mishaps. Perhaps a hook lodged in a hood.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I'll have to trim that down just a little bit, but
absolutely,
maybe some success, some failure,
some success.
But I've been wanting to talk to you about that, and we can do that afterwards.
Absolutely. So check us out on SoundCloud and all of our awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat.
The love.
Snapchat is his Snapchat right now, but Fish Addictions Snapchat for Fish Addictions. YouTube, definitely subscribe. That's where we're putting out extra content and more content. Facebook, definitely give us a like on there. Message us, tell us about your grip and grins. Just talk to us. We respond to everyone who messages us. And don't forget iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, the whole works.
SoundCloud, the whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards. But sorry we didn't put one out in a week, but we're back.
Yes, we are.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Patrick.
And this is
The Broken Line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Broken Line Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.